Joining us in the Fox Sports Asia studios is one of the greatest lightweight mixed martial artists of all time. The only man to win world titles in both the UFC and Bellator. Now he's in Asia as a one championship superstar, Mr. Eddie Alvarez. Eddie, thanks for joining us. They call you the Underground King. My first question, for those who don't know, why that nickname?
I was virtually unknown to the sport of mixed martial arts for a long time, although I held many titles outside of the UFC, outside of Bellator. I was unknown, so I was underground, and I always felt like I was the best in the world. I was the best lightweight in the world, so I was a king in my own right. Just it didn't manifest yet, and I wasn't able to show the world. So, sort of like a diamond in the rough, I was the Underground King. So,
I've always had huge respect for anyone who's even willing to take an amateur fight, let alone a pro fight. So, the mentality you need to be a martial artist, to be a fighter as well, is one thing. But then to go on and be a world champion is totally different. So, what is it about you that makes you a winner, and also just have the brass to step in there?
So, from a young age, whenever I got the feeling that I was afraid, when I didn't face my fear, I'd go home with a pile of regret. And the feeling that I had of regret, of being afraid and not facing it, was a lot more painful for me than facing it. So I chose to not deal with that pain as a kid. I grew up in North Philadelphia, a lot of fights, so there was a lot of fear as a kid. And the minute I faced it, and I got on the other side of fear and felt what it felt like to face them, I knew that that's what I wanted to do all the time. I always wanted to opt to have courage. I always wanted to take that route in the face of fear. So that's sort of where I was at with that.
Well, you throughout your career have beaten some pretty scary dudes, some of the best lightweights in the world as well, the likes of Anthony Pettis, Rafael dos Anjos, when you won your title. Talk us through some of your highlights when you were in the UFC.
So, yeah, Gilbert Melendez, Rafael dos Anjos, the list goes on and on of champions. I fought almost every single champion from every major organization and beat them. If I had a necklace here, I'd have a crown of skulls on my necklace of kings that I was able to defeat. So I'm proud of that. But I come to Asia, I come humble. I'm not here, and I don't want accolades for what I did in the past. I'm here to earn my keep and earn my right to the lightweight title here. So what happened in the past is awesome, but I am here for that belt, and I'm willing to earn it.
It's interesting seeing you at the One Championship press conference in Singapore, and I believe the question is, what can we expect from you? And you just said, have you seen my fights? So again, for those who aren't familiar with you, if there was one fight that embodies who you are as a person, who you are as a fighter, is there one battle that really stands out for you that embodies what you're all about?
If you look at a fight, when I fought Tatsuya Kawajiri in the Dream Tournament, this is a fight where I'm fighting a guy who I looked up to years in advance. So I'm fighting really one of my heroes that I've looked up to. So to get past that, and then to fight a superstar in their own country, coming from North Philadelphia, fly to Japan, fight him on his own soil. And if you watch the fight, I'm cut badly. The crowd's against me, the ref's against me, the country's against me, and I just sort of I go into myself, and that dog comes out, and you see, you kind of see who I am, and that's one thing you can't escape when you're inside of a cage with another man is the truth will come out, and you'll see your truest self inside the cage, whether you buckle under them lights or quit, or whether you deal with the adversity like a man and fight harder.
Well, we spoke about the element of you being underground for a lot of your career, but I suppose there was a peak in everyone knowing who you were in the lead up to the McGregor fight. It was at MSG, it was historical, it did unbelievable numbers, but there was so much trash talk. And since you've come to Asia, you've talked about wanting to focus on martial arts. What is it like being a part of, in a way, that circus, the media, that turned up to 1 million trash talk from McGregor. What was it like being a part of all that?
It was actually enjoyable. Like I never went into a fight, and I'd never been a part of that. And like as a martial artist, I always try to bring the best out of even if the situation for me was a very low time in my career. I try to think about some positives in it, or maybe some things I needed to experience at that time to help me grow as a person or a martial artist. And that was maybe something that helped me grow as a person. Maybe I needed to be embarrassed in front of millions of people and lose a fight in order to grow as a martial artist, to understand that we can all be defeated, and that we all need to keep our eye on the ball at all times. But I think it was enjoyable. If I had to say the lead up to that whole thing, it was fun. It was something different that I never experienced before.
Is he responsible for changing the game? You could argue in a lot of great ways, but in a lot of bad ways as well, because DJ was speaking, Demetrius Johnson, your colleague now at ONE, was saying how he got a little bit sick of the way things are in Western martial arts, how you're under pressure to talk trash, to sell fights. And there's a very different emphasis when it comes to ONE Championship. It's a focus on integrity and on being a martial artist.
I mean, you're talking about guys' hopes, something they've been dreaming about since they were kids. They're going to be ruthless in their approach to reach that goal. So if it takes talking trash, you're going to talk trash. If you have to be somewhat out of character, you're going to do that in the approach of a dream of yours. So I've been guilty of it, and a lot of guys have. But it's not necessarily what I believe in and how I want to approach sport in general. So I'm glad I'm here. I'm in Asia. It's a different approach. The value is in fighting. The value is in martial arts, respect, honor, integrity. The value is in a lot of good things that I don't have to worry about being disingenuous and being someone that I'm not necessarily. That's not who I am.
We're recording this at a moment in time, and who knows what will have happened in a few weeks and when you see this on air. But right now we're coming off the back of Eddie Alvarez is coming to ONE, Demetrius Johnson is coming to ONE, other big names, and Miesha Tate is the vice president, and then there's all these Asian fighters who are up and coming, becoming bigger and bigger names. Aung Lan Sang is a huge name in Myanmar and becoming bigger. Do you feel like you're part of something, part of a moment when it comes to ONE Championship?
Yeah, and this is a big reason I signed. I seen a promotion that was super strong already, and I felt like, man, if I can be part of this wave, and essentially in North America anyway, be the beginning of that wave. Me, Demetrius, and a lot of other big names in the sport, really just give it a small push. In America, in North America, and just give it that small push it needs to just go right over the top. I feel like we're the ones to do that. It only takes 1 or 2 people to make massive change. It takes a little bit of courage of 1 or 2 people to make a massive change, and I'm happy to be one of them guys.
Are you staying at lightweight? You're looking big and strong. There was speculation of maybe welterweight, different weight class systems in ONE Championship to anywhere else in the world.
It is. So, yeah, I believe lightweight here is 169. So I'm okay with that. We'll see how it goes. There's a hydration test, so I haven't been through that yet. So I'll go through this process a few times before I find my true natural weight. But we're going to do this tournament. I feel like 69 is a beautiful place for me. If I can, I'll go to 55 as well. So who knows?
Eddie Alvarez in a beautiful place. We're very grateful to get to have him here in Asia. Lots to look forward to when it comes to this man and all the happenings at ONE Championship. Exciting times for Asian MMA and the Underground King.